Well, we're live, Aaron.
What's up?
What's up? Let's do the short intro. It's really the outgoing thing. Hold on, just give a little pep here.
Get down.
Aaron Virola in the house.
Sir.
What room are you in?
I'm in my office. It looks a little different because I'm standing up. I got a little standing desk station. So, yeah, it'll look normal from like here down.
Yeah. This is weird. I'm in a different environment myself, so we can get to that. I'm sitting in my new apartment in the Dallas area, and I actually just recorded a show a couple of days ago. That was my first show to record in my Houston apartment, and I used somebody else's stuff, and it was real weird, but I did something for restaurants, interviewed an author and restaurant consultant, Jim Taylor.
Oh, cool.
That was a fantastic conversation. Dude's a rock star. But
awesome.
Yeah, I'm not in my normal element. I'm not even set up here yet. So how do we start this conversation? I think we can start it off.
2025 sucks, maybe. 2025 has been a fucking crazy year.
Yeah, man. I mean, I have, this is partial allergies. I've been in Houston, Austin, and back in Dallas just in the last. I was in Houston all week, then Austin over the weekend, then back up here in Dallas. Different like cedar and pollen, different parts of Texas, and they all fuck me up. And they're chasing me, and so and I'm bummed. But you and I were supposed to launch our new show, Friends from Work. I'm dissolving this, keeping the feed. So if you follow us, just stick around. The Yeehaw and Yankee show with A.A. Rod and Ricky Joe is still imminent, but some tragedies hit both of our lives, and obviously there's no real comparison to your situation. So, but before we get into it, I love when you and I were talking on the phone earlier, and I said, so how do we approach this? Like, what the hell do we do here? This is going to be a heavy conversation for a pop culture show, but I feel like it humanizes us. Plus, anybody that's dealing with any loss maybe can take something from this. That would be amazing. But I also like how you tied it into pop culture and said towards, the second half of this or however it plays out, let's talk about the importance of escapism for our minds and souls and hearts. Yeah. And the things that we love. So
yeah, and I mean, look, outside of the personal stuff, I mean, there's a lot of other shit going on in the world that people are uncomfortable with, and we need a little bit of unity, camaraderie, and if pop culture is the thing that unites folks of all different backgrounds and ideologies and all that, let it be. It could also be a divisive place where those things happen, Star Wars. But yeah,
I mean, on that note, isn't it like toxic, visceral fandom? Doesn't it seem just that much more fucking ridiculous?
And I don't have no energy for it at all.
Yeah, I mean,
I did before, but like, even my circumstances, I have no energy for it. I really don't. I see people going on about stuff. I'm like, yeah, how about you call me when you have some real problems?
Right. Like, I'm sorry you don't like the new Star Wars show. I'm sorry, Henry Cavill's not your Superman anymore.
Whatever. I saw somebody post that, and I just whatever.
Right. So our show got postponed. How you holding up?
I'm okay. I'll look, and I can't. Like, talking about what I'm about to talk about is a very hard thing for me to do. So apologies in advance. But about 2 months ago, I lost my wife, Jessica, to a courageous battle of breast cancer. She was 39. And I have to raise our 2 kids by myself, and they're young. 8 and 5. And yeah, my life is different. It's been ripped away from me. Cancer is a fucking beast. My wife was diagnosed in July of 2024. It was about a 9-month battle. And we thought on a couple of occasions we had a beat, but we didn't. And never did we ever discuss the potential of her passing or any of that because we were in the fight, And that's the thing about this disease, is the thing about the kind of cancer she had, which is triple negative breast cancer, and how aggressive that is. There's a lot of new stuff happening around that, but it can just turn, and it can turn, for the worse very quickly. So I'm very much in the grieving process of her loss, and trying to put my life back together. Honestly, I think it's surreal. It really is. I wake up and I'm forced to. I say this a lot, but I'm forced to live a life I never wanted. But life is a treadmill that doesn't stop moving, and so I could either keep pace with whatever being thrown in my way and keep moving forward, or let it overtake me, and that I will refuse to do. So, I pay the deepest honor to Jess by just living every day to the fullest as best I can, because that's how she went about her life, even on her darkest days. So I'm here because this is what I love to do. She always supported this. She thought the idea of the show was a hoot. It was crazy. So I'll do this in memory of her.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, we've talked. It's just, having small children myself, and I don't even have. I'll just say this, because I'll choose my words carefully here. I don't have a relationship with the mother of my children. Virtually none. That's all I'll say. But I will say this: I still couldn't imagine, obviously, them losing her and losing their mom. So when I think about your kids in this situation, between the things I'm dealing with and you are, that is obviously the most tragic aspect of what we're going through kind of collectively. And I've told you this story about my cousin losing his mom when he was 4, in a very tragic way that he witnessed, and no details, and he's a functioning, wonderful 40, how old is he now? 45-year-old man, 44-year-old man, honors his mother to this day, 40 years later. Having all the videos and pictures and everything you have of her, that's so cool, man. You know what I mean? Like that's really cool that you have all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's the good part of technology, right?
Well, it's funny because, I would give her a lot of shit. Like, why are you taking so many photos? Like, why can't you just be in the moment? You put the phone down, but I'm glad she did.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many little fragments of life that she captured, that are great to look back on. They hurt, but I hope that those folks that either are following me or have seen any of that, I know, Rick, you've seen it. You can see the energy and that vibrance of life come out of every picture that she's in. And that's how she lived.
Whew. How are they doing? And do you want to share the age of your kids or no?
Yeah, they're 8 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
They're okay. They're resilient. Kids are resilient. They definitely have their moments. They have their ups and downs, like everybody, like I do. And my daughter was, as you can imagine, between a mother and a daughter, that bond is tight, and she's very very emotional about, mommy not being here, and at least once a day there's a crying fit or something. Her way of grieving, and we just kind of talk through that. My 5-year-old, he gets it, but he leans a little bit more towards, mommy's still here. We talk about butterflies being like her little sign, and we see lots of butterflies kind of flying around our house, and he's going to grow up knowing that his mom is still a part of him. But he gets angry. I mean, he's my daughter is like my wife, and my son is like me. So, and it's a 5-year-old trying to interpret his emotional status or state, and that's a hard thing for him to do. So I'm very thankful for the community. I'm very thankful for, the school that they're in, because they've been incredibly helpful, and an amazing support system for my kids and for me, frankly. So it's good, but every day brings something different. I think it's kind of weird now. We're in a weird phase where, like, not having her starting to feel normal, and I don't really like that feeling, but I'm thankful for that feeling, because it's just like, okay, we can go through our days and go through our lives. There are definitely moments, my daughter had one yesterday where we were at the pool and we had all this good fun and all this other stuff, and she just got home and was just like a wreck. I was like, I miss mom. I miss mommy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never going to go away. It's like in those moments where we kind of slow down a little bit, where we're not so like distracted by the busy, where like all of the emotional stuff happens. And, with everything I've been going through in the past 2 months, but even before that, because I had a whole lot of other personal things happen, like anxiety and all of that, I've been in therapy. So I've been continuing to do that. It's obviously taken a very different turn. And then joining grief and bereavement groups have been very helpful, either through a cancer organization or even just like a young widows group, stuff like that. So, for anyone listening, anyone who's lost somebody close to them, someone that they've loved, anything, even if you have anxiety, whatever, please, you're not alone. You're enough. You can go get therapy. It's super helpful. And there are a lot of other people out there that are, kind of in the same boat, that can empathize with you and help and support you. So please, do what you need to do.
100%, man. Like, I'm so glad you said that, because so often we don't want to feel better about ourselves because other people are hurting. That's the wrong way to look at it. It's just a community, so you know that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's inspiring what people can get through, because you have to. And I've had my battles with depression, anxiety, especially in my adult life, but you don't really know until you know when you're in it, and it's other, because there's a difference in being depressed or being sad and being in a state of depression. Those two, that's entirely other. So I'm glad you're going to those sessions, and it's helping. That's amazing. What goodness, when did she pass? How long has it been now? What was the
we're coming up on 2 months. It was April 27th.
2 months. Okay, so I'm going to circle back to something you said about feeling guilty because it's starting to feel normal. I know that's got to be real hard, because it's natural, and you need to, because you can't heal if you don't.
Yeah.
But then you start to think, I don't want anyone thinking we're okay and we're good and we're fine without her being here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reconcile that. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's like I'm still in a lot of pain, but because I'm not showing it doesn't mean that I'm not in a lot of pain. You know what I mean? It's like I feel guilty for living my life. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. I feel guilty for continuing to do things. I'll give you a great example here. I was getting tired of my kitchen rugs, and I happened to be like, oh, let me just go to IKEA and see what kind of like little rugs they've got, little throw things that I could like help change it up. And I went into the store like, oh, would she like this? You know what I mean? Like like the motions, the muscle memory of the things that I would normally do with my wife are still very much intact. And then I put it down and I'm like, I shouldn't have bought this. Because she didn't have a say in it. And that's ridiculous. Like she can't say anything. You know what I mean? Like, but there's a tug of war that's happening emotionally with me. And it goes through like, my kids right now are at a like trampoline park, and I'm so happy that they are doing that. But I feel bad because this is something that my wife would have been doing with them, and that's me. I'm like perpetuating this, like, oh, like she's not there, and that may, I recognize that my kids are going to probably come back with a little bit of that too. I'm just able to articulate it. Like for me, I'm like, I feel guilty that we're, kind of doing things without her. Although this is what she would want for us to do anyways. But for my kids, that's when they come back and they're like, I miss mommy, because mommy was such an integral part of all of those little moments. Like she was the last one to take them certain places, or you know what I mean? And so like the memories kick up and like they start to feel it, but they don't recognize it as guilt. It's just that longing for mommy. And that's when it gets really hard for all of us.
I can't imagine. Right. There's like segueing in these conversations. There's so many things swimming. I love that she loved this. Did you talk to her about our name? Did she like it?
Yeah, she loved our name. She was hilarious.
I think you were telling me the Yeehaw and Yankee show. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, you're so good at that, because that's what I do for a living. I brand things, So she's
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I just have to figure out a way to be a little bit more Texan, but I think the juxtaposition's there.
Dude, you don't even realize how Texan you are.
Well, that's funny. That's fine, and that's cool. I hear it differently from people around. For example, I can be in New York. People are like, you don't sound like you're from Texas, or in California. Or
from New York. What part of New York?
Well, I mean,
because I hear it and I'm like, yeah.
You've been all over me over the years, bro.
It's like people telling me that, I feel like I don't have a New York accent, but then I go to places and people are like, you're definitely from New York.
Your son has a New York accent.
My son is a whole other.
Bro, he's adorable. That video, I was like, hey, man, it's so New York. I love it.
Yeah, my son is Long Island. Like
Matthew McConaughey is Texas.
Okay. Right.
And by the way,
for him.
That's not a bullshit accent from him. I know people that went to school with him at UT, man. That's how he talked.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course. And I think that'll be the funny part of our show is that there's enough stuff that'll slip out. And I mean, I am from Texas.
Yeah.
I am definitely from Texas. Where were you born, by the way? Were you born in?
I was born in New York. I was born here in the city.
Okay.
I say here in the city. Like, I don't live in the city. I live in the suburbs. But yeah, I was born in Manhattan, raised in the Bronx, lived what I would consider upstate. But if you ask anyone who's from upstate, they don't know where I grew up. So it's Dutchess County, which is like 45 minutes outside of the Bronx, an hour outside of the Bronx. It's not that far, but there's enough woods to feel like it's upstate. And then I moved back. You go to school. I went to Westchester. I lived in Westchester for a bit. Went back to the Bronx, lived in Queens, and I'm here on Long Island. So I'm from all over the place.
I find it almost borderline comical. Your brother lives in Houston.
Yeah, he's embraced that Southern living very well.
So now that I'm out of the burbs, and I'll get to that in a moment, my Houston pad is over by the Galleria. So he's in Katy or Sugar? Katy, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right on. All right, awesome. Yeah. Well, so we'll just jump around a little bit. I'll be pretty brief with mine, and because I can't get into details. First of all, just out of respect for my wife, and I'm still on this date, which is June 22nd, 2025. We're still legally married, and she's still my best friend. So I will not reveal anything personal about her, and I'm not going to say anything negative about anybody else. So I got to keep this ambiguous. I'll just say that I'm going through a divorce. And the person that I'm going through a divorce with is the love of my life, man. And we have been together now just shy of 5 years and married for over 4. And I've also been an intricate part of her kids' lives, my 3 stepkids that when I say love is my own, nothing replaces my 2 daughters. And they have an amazing dad, by the way. And so I never had to be their father, but I still was around and helped raise them. I mean, they were part of my life. I mean, her sons lived with us, and since I'm a girl dad, I just I don't want to say gravitated towards their daughter. I love their boys, but her daughter's also an actress, and I basically was with her virtually through most of her high school, and then going into college. And I was just in Boston a few weeks ago, a couple months ago, with her there. So, like, my family, like, my favorite thing in the world is when we're all together, all 7 of us. And this coming up holiday is going to be real rough. And all I'm going to say about my divorce is that it is, for those that know how her and I met, and they think, oh, well, okay, that crazy way they met and they got married, in under a year or whatever. And no one thought that was going to last. I'm going to share this with you real quick, because again, I can't get into the details of why we're divorcing, but Jen has to do it for her own sanity. First, anything, there's nothing about me or anything I can control. But her ex-husband, who, if you know the whole story, it's even crazier that he and I are friends, but I love the guy. I won't say his name here, but I'll say his first name. I love David. He called me and he said, after this was going down, I'm going to paraphrase, but this is what he said. He said, you're going to hear a lot of bullshit. You're going to hear a lot of people saying, we knew this was going to happen. There's no way this could have lasted. And don't listen to that, because no one thought that more than I did. And then I had a front row seat, and I watched you love her unequivocally, vice versa. I watched her love your daughters, and you treated my kids like your own, and I'm forever grateful for it. You guys are divorcing because of outside circumstances that neither one of you can control. And it's not for that reason. And Aaron, I had one family member say, well, we love her, but we knew this was going to happen. I said, no, you did not know this was going to happen. Mm-hmm. No one could have known this was going to happen, because we're not divorcing because of how we met or whatever.
Yeah.
Love, the marriage is real. Yeah. The love is real. It's what is happening is other.
Yeah.
And so I just want to say that, and say that, again, I would not compare what we're going through, but for anyone going through a divorce, and this is my second one. And to say that I'm 50 years old and twice divorced, it makes me want to throw up, because I never thought I would be divorced. Mm-hmm. In my first marriage, there are things that I did that pushed her away, that were, not to get into that, but then things were not. Anyway, I got to be careful. I can't say anything publicly about that. She is the mother of my children, and I respect that, and how much my daughters love her. That means the world to me, and that will be more important than anything else. So I'll shift gears there. Let me just come back to this. Is that because I'm just when I'm saying I'm twice divorced, I just feel like I need to fucking explain that, because I look like some dirtbag husband, and I treated Jen like royalty. I certainly was not perfect, and no, who the hell is? Come on, dude, who's perfect? I'm far from perfect, but I loved her unequivocally. I loved her children, and to me, I had 5 kids, and even though they had an amazing dad, it's like I just shared them with him. Yeah. And I'm going to miss them profoundly. And I want to say this to anybody going through a divorce. There's times where it's been about a month and a half now. I reach over in the middle of the night to try to grab her.
Yeah.
And there's flashes of her, and I can't get her out of my mind. It's like someone, and we've talked about this.
So good, dude. Yeah.
I know it's like someone has died, but in a weird way, for me, it would be easier if she would have been killed in a car wreck. And by the way, I'm so glad she's here. The world is a more beautiful place. Her kids need her. She's amazing. I'm glad she's here. I'm just saying, for the grieving, a divorce can be as hard as death, and that is something that
it's a loss. It's a loss, man.
Psychiatrists will tell you, and it's even sometimes can be, for me and in my mind anyway, more challenging because she's there, and it's like what like it's not closure in the same way. Again, this is just my mind. So it's altogether tragic. And I have been, this has been the worst month of my life. And all I've tried to do is, I went down a downward spiral once before, many years ago. And that was a very serious downward spiral. And the silver lining to said spiral is the fact that I realize that I am capable of getting to a certain place that's really dark and really evil and really bad. And when that happens to you, and that thing of depression grabs you and drags you down to the pits of hell, and you're like, wait, what just happened? Where did that demon come from? And you're down there. It's hard to get out. The silver lining for me is I know now I'm capable of getting that bad, so I'll never get that bad again. I won't, because I'm too strong for that. And my girls need me, and my profession needs me, and my industry needs me, because my love for restaurants and bars and hospitality is the only thing the only thing I'm as passionate about in the world in terms of that outside of my kids and loved ones is acting, theater. That's it. Cinema, restaurants, hospitality, theater, pop culture, art. That's it. That's me. That's in my DNA. Everything else, that's it. It's anything else about me is I love the Dallas Cowboys, and I love kids, and I like a good beer, and I like the bullshit. Pretty simple dude outside of those things. So those things are keeping me going, man. I have a career where I get to service and help restaurants and help other people do the same. That motivates me. You motivate me. Your strength and what you're going through. Like, sometimes I say to myself, how dare you get this depressed again? Because look at what Aaron's having to endure, and look at him, fucking champ. That's a good thing, but it's hard. Yeah. It's hard because Jen was the rest of my life, and that's how I viewed her. And I love her family, her brothers, her sister, everything. And I loved our house. I was just there the other day. I'm always welcome there, but it's hard to go. I got to just stay away from it. And so that's my story. And I want her to be at peace and happy. And I want us to be, she's my best friend, so I want us to be close again. I'm at a point right now, though, Aaron, and I asked her this 2 days ago. because she would talk to me 5 hours a day. Yeah. She still loves me, but I have to I got to heal. And I don't even want to. I even hid all her family and everything on social media. I don't want to see her brother had a picture of him and his daughter, their graduation. And I didn't want to look at it. I just didn't want to be reminded of these people that I love that are not my family anymore. Mm-hmm. So if you're listening and you're going through a divorce, you're not alone. If you're listening and you've lost your spouse to an untimely death, whether it's cancer or whether it's a car wreck or whatever it is, you're not alone. We're all going through shit, man. I won't say my company's name on the show or my boss, the leader of our whole team. But he said something to me really profound, and I'll send him this timestamp privately. But he said, just know that everybody is going through something. So when we have that in our minds, we can, I'm butchering what he said, but the point of it was, we're not alone. And when you're talking to somebody, be the best part of their day, mm-hmm. because you don't know what they're going through. And I assure you, they're going through something.
Yeah.
And that was a really fucking badass thing to hear from, I'll say Chris. All right. I can say that. So here we are. And it was wild, dude, when this went down. We were all keeping a check on you and our text thread, and just, it's hard to like reach out sometime because if you're having a good moment, I don't want to fuck it up by,
there's no, see, that's the thing. There's no such thing. Like a good moment is a very thin shell to whatever's happening underneath. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I could have a good moment and glance over at a picture and be immediately snapped back into the fact that, and I had a moment like just walking over here, my entire house. I mean, this is the house that we built together. This is, there's pictures of her everywhere. There's her touch is on things, pictures on the wall, a particular style of something. And I also recognize that like a lot of the things that I now do are representative of things that like we compromised on. It was like she's my soulmate. We're blended, and so
share something, just if you can. You don't have to.
Just an example of
just
that.
An example.
I'll go back to the carpet. I had to get another carpet for my living room, and I picked something that I liked, that I knew she would like. And it's funny because I laid it down and my kids were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I really like this carpet, Daddy. Like mommy would love this." And it's like, we're still vibing. We're still attached that way. You know what I mean? Of
course,
it's a very, I can't explain it, honestly. And the one thing I'll say to you in terms of your situation it's about love. Love doesn't die. So even though we're going through these tragedies and these moments of grief and loneliness, because that's very real. That's a very, very real part of where we both are, is this solitude, this inescapable feeling, because at the end of the day, we have to put our heads down on beds that don't have our significant others. And in that moment, that's typically when I feel the most alone. I don't want to go to bed. So I've been burning the hours late because I can't take myself to bed. I have to be dead exhausted so that I'm not stuck in bed. But what gives me comfort is that as fiercely as we've loved each other, that's an energy that cannot go anywhere. That's everlasting. It's eternal. I still love her. I know she still loves me. And that's how I kind of get through those moments. I'm not alone in that way. And so, for you, while I understand the sort of desire of like, if she were just gone, but you still know deep down that she loves you, and you know that you still love her, that is something that can't be taken away from either of you.
Of course. And I'm so glad she's here. The world's more beautiful with her in it. I merely said that because
I get it. Because
for people listening that they feel that way, just understand. I'm going to share one real quick with you. So for up until about a year ago, I used to drive her crazy. Like when a bill got dropped, I would just hand my credit card. I'm a restaurant guy. I don't care. I'm going to just charge this, whatever. I never looked.
It's on me.
Well, just I never verified the bill. We have that many drinks? Did we have that? Is that appetizer even what we had? And so I finally started doing it. And she was like, it was those little things that she really appreciated. And last night I'm in Austin, and I had a bill, and the guy, and I was by myself actually, and he handed me the bill. I opened it up and I looked at it and I paid it. I sat there and I went, wow.
Yeah.
Just a moment, She's a
part of you.
And I don't want to not do that, even though I don't anyway. So, all right. So this is a good segue for the second half of the show, or however long we do this, is that, well, first of all, I've got to, if you see the Jim Taylor conversation, again, I'm in my new Houston pad, and like now I'm in this new Dallas pad. I just ran in here and set this up. I need a background.
I'm still looking.
I need all my comics and my books and all my. I did put Batman and Yoda right here. I'm just trying to figure out. I almost want to. I don't want to screw up the shows streaming live. I've slept here I think 4 times, but I'm going to start being.
You'll find your groove.
Yeah, I like the Houston Pen's dope. It is. It's right over by the Galleria. It's super convenient. But hopefully in a couple of years, I'll be buying something in the Austin area anyway. That's where I want to be. So love Dallas, dude. It's still home. And I have to have residence here while my girls go through high school. And I will. And we have an office here. My company does, our Texas office. And so I am actually very productive with work, even though I don't personally cover DFW. Very productive here. But I will say that once they're done, I don't, this is, Dallas isn't home to me anymore. And Houston's not either, because I moved there for Jen anyway. I like Houston. I like the restaurant scene there, especially. It's just, when I'm in the Austin area and that whole part of Texas, Austin makes me feel the same way New York does. They're my my two favorite cities are Austin, Texas, and New York, dude.
It's amazing.
Straight up. All right. So what is when we think about comic books, the genesis of comic books was, and I'm not a comic book historian. I'm just based on just what I know in the history of things. Let's face it, they were a way for American exceptionalism to come through and get people through, wars and 1930s and 40s and Great Depression and the genesis of all of comics was escapism.
Yeah.
From Nazism, from Great Depression, from
whatever was happening in the world. I mean,
whatever's happening. And so when you tap into that is what we're fucking talking about. That's what this is. We need Superman and Batman and Star Wars and the things that you and I love more than ever, because it is something that is inherent in us. And the genesis, again, is that escapism. So are you starting to enjoy things again, or where are you?
I mean, I didn't not enjoy stuff. I didn't through everything that was going on, I didn't not watch the shows that, I was hooked on watching. My wife passed 2 weeks into The Last of Us, which was a show that we loved watching. And it's kind of funny when the last things, I was talking to some of the nurses because, episode 2 of the second season of The Last of Us happened and everyone's like, holy shit, nurses are like, and I'm like, hey, did you guys watch The Last of Us? And, Jess hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, keep it down because when she gets out, she's got to catch up. It's kind of bittersweet, obviously. I love that show and it's a little different now watching things that we used to watch, not having her, but still watch them, because I needed it. I needed to kind of to get out. So when Andor started, which was another show that she loved, I kept watching because I needed it.
I need to watch the last 2 episodes again. I haven't watched those with a clear mind.
Oh, Andor?
Yeah. And they're phenomenal. I know. I'm just saying, it's just
I get it.
I just need to watch them again.
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes. What a show, dude. What a show.
Yeah. It's interesting. So about what Andor did, and it did it in the first season, but it moved Star Wars out of Star Wars. If that makes any sense.
Sure.
So much so that I've told other people who've actually watched nothing of Star Wars. My mother is one of those people. And I said, you got to watch the show Andor. And because she's been staying with me. And so she started watching it and she powered through it. She gets to the heist on Aldani. She comes running out. Oh my God, that was an amazing episode. I'm like, you don't even understand what you just signed up for. And then boom, boom. And then I hear she gets to the end the season finale of season 1, and she's like, whoa, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, what's next? I'm like, start season 2, start season 2. You know, dude, in about 2 weeks, she watched all of Andor season 1, all of season 2, Rogue One, because when she got to the end of Andor, she's like, wait, that can't be the end of his story. And I'm like, it's not. Drop, Rogue One on her. And then she gets to the end of Rogue One and she's like, but what about those plans? I'm like, New Hope, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting.
Season 4.
Yeah, it was like a little experiment for me, because I wanted to see how she would move through Star Wars, not actually being introduced to Star Wars that way. And she loved it.
Episode 4 has a whole new meaning to me now. Hey, I was having a conversation the other day with a buddy of mine who is, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to say it. Tom McClellan, if you're listening, get your head on straight. Love you.
Tom who?
Tom McClellan.
Oh, yeah. The Brit.
Yeah, the Brit. He's great. Love Tom. Hello, Tom. And
Brits hate that.
That's why I did it.
Yeah, hate that.
I fuck with him, but he sends me cowboy stuff, so it's a fun troll. No, of course, my goodness, I think he would like that? I'm just trolling Tom. I'm not mocking my British loved ones, by the way. But anyway, but I feel like and I'm not picking on him because it's not just him, has led, like, and he's younger. I think he's in his 30s, so it's easier to get sucked into some of the stuff like the YouTube and the toxic fandom. And now all of a sudden he doesn't even like the sequels anymore. He never liked Rise of Skywalker, but he loved The Last Jedi. He really liked it.
Yeah.
Now he's like, no, these are aging well. I don't like it. I'm like, no, bro, you're letting that crap, like Poison Brain, get off the. And I know he's on it because he sends me videos and links of stuff. Here's my point to bringing all that up. To troll Tom, love you, Tom. But also you talk about your aunt? Did you say that you introduced? Oh, it was your mother. Okay, sorry. Okay, gotcha. It was your mom. So you did that with your mother. So you introduced her to Andor, season 1, season 2, Rogue One, etc. Let's think about the prequel sequel debate. I'm gonna just ask you a question. Let's say your average 25-year-old person, male or female, it doesn't matter, just that's into pop culture, but just never watched Star Wars, and so doesn't have any idea of, like, the fandom and Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson. It's just nothing. It's just all that's just noise to them. It's virtually a clean slate. Maybe they know Vader's Luke's father or whatever. Yeah. So that individual, where do they start? And if they watched. Let's be real. If you watch The Phantom Menace, which is episode 1 for the first movie, would you be into Star Wars?
I don't know. That's a great question. So I tried that with my son. Now he's young. He doesn't get it, but I think the hardest part is that Star Wars is such an iconic part of pop culture. Darth Vader transcends everything, so my son is transfixed on Darth Vader. And so when I tell him, as I use Darth Vader as a carrot at the end of the stick, hey, you're going to see Darth Vader. But as a little kid, he's like, when does he put on the costume? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that little kid is Darth Vader. Like, why is he so little? And it's like, it's that. So I think if you go in there, and it's kind of hard to do that, man, because everyone knows Star Wars and Darth Vader. It's like, it's like everyone knows who Mickey Mouse is. You may not have seen anything related to Mickey Mouse, but everyone knows who Mickey Mouse is. Everyone knows who Superman is. You may not know where he came from. You may be like, oh, he came from planet Krypton or something like that.
It's iconic.
It is. It's a part of Americana.
There you go.
That's what it is. So that's a hard question to answer. I also think that there's also a lot of bias. Someone like us, we might start them in the places where we started because that's where our hearts are. Like, oh, we got to start with the OT. But with my mom, I experimented. You can't, she knew next to nothing.
Well, and if you're a Luke Skywalker fan from our generation, remind me again how old you are.
43.
Okay, 43. So I've got 7 years on you. But you're from our generation, and we grew up with Luke. and we had action figures of Luke. He lived in our imagination. He defined our childhood. When you're that person, then you get to the Last Jedi. I can see it, why it's contentious. Although I would argue, I think Luke was more Luke in that movie than any film. I would die on that hill, but he got there. You know, the last 20 minutes, Jesus. But anyway,
that goes. I mean, what you're like touching on is expectation, which is the heroic thing that was never fulfilled.
You did an analysis on expectations on one of our, I think it was on this show, and I put a clip of it up, and it's one of my favorite Aaron moments, by the way. But if you're watching now and you're introduced to Luke now, and then you watch the original trilogy, and then within just a few weeks you watch The Last Jedi, you're not going to have that same reaction. No. You're just not. It's just part of the story and the continuation, and you don't have this this thing you're carrying with you for 30 years. Right. It's just Luke Skywalker. And hey, on a side note, I always find it comical that people will show this clip of Mark kind of bashing.
Oh, that's not my. He says it. That's not my Luke. That's not how I. Yeah.
Well, in the context too is later. He said, "Look, I grew to fall in love with it and follow his lead, but still, fine, whatever." But I'm like, that's fine. But this is the same guy, the actor, who bashes the dialogue from the original films. He also wanted Lucas to make Luke evil, Sith in Jedi. It was hoping that was the direction it was going, and that he's on that show that Kevin Smith had in the early 2000s, late 90s. It was like a roundtable thing.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee was there, Kevin Smith, Mark Hamill, and like Jason Lee, who I worked with him, and he was wonderful, by the way. I love Jason Lee. But those four, and he tells the story, and I've been sharing it because that other link is going around. I guess my point to all that is Mark Hamill is just kind of a troublemaker, shit talker, no matter what.
Mark Hamill will do what Mark Hamill does.
That's right.
Stir the pot. He loves doing it to fandom. He loves doing it to political figures. He's good at it.
Yeah, well, yeah, his
but also it's different. It's different for him. He has an attachment to a character that we will never understand because we've never played that character. Like he didn't have we don't share in the responsibility of ushering in that character to the masses. Okay. Again, this goes back to expectations. His expectations of where that character was going to go is very different. It's going to change over time. It's going to change with life experiences, all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, he also has to remember he's not in control of if you wanted Luke Skywalker to be that, then write the next Star Wars, Mark Hamill, and then you get to do whatever you want.
That's right. But anyway, I love Mark Hamill, and I just was, I just found that interesting. Yeah. All right, man. So we've got so much Star Wars stuff. We've got,
but we don't.
Oh,
because there's no movies. That's not coming in a long time. I heard the Ray stuff is on delay and how.
No. Hold on. I'm gonna read you something on that. Just hold that thought because that right there is. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I've got this super accessible, so I'm gonna read this to you. Okay, so Aiden Diaz. Okay, to that source. Stop sourcing these anonymous leakers when we knew Mangold's was going to go first, per his own words, about getting it after the complete unknown, and Bo Willimum working right now. And we know it's Mando and Grogu, which is coming out, right. and Starfighter in the immediate, so it would be a while anyway. It's not news. Kathleen Kennedy just mentioned Charmin Obaid Chinoy as part of the lineup at Celebration. The new writer of the film, George Nofi, has spoken about it on video. Got to stop falling for it's on hold clickbait code for its developing amongst other things.
I don't care. I don't even care. But honestly, I don't care until it's a thing. Like
that's fine to say that, but it's not. It's not. That's all bullshit. Well, it's coming.
Sure. So is Ryan. So is Ryan Johnson.
No. But they paraded her on stage, and by the way, that was also post like.
Oh, the whole Disney shakeup thing.
Well, it's like recent. The Ryan Johnson thing was announced before the online reaction to The Last Jedi happened.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
He's making good.
Those Glass Onion.
Those are great. They're fun.
Knives Out. Those things are awesome.
All right, Superman.
Yes.
Are you excited for it?
I'm getting more excited for it. I haven't watched any more trailers. I already have my tickets. I'm taking my kids. Um,
Can I be honest?
I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it because I want to see a good Superman film, a really, really good one. That's really a true Superman film. I think Man of Steel is a really badass alien invasion movie. I don't think it's a great Superman movie.
I agree with you.
You know, I don't want Paul Kent even alluding to the fact that kids should be drowned and he watches his dad.
I get that though too though.
Commit suicide.
I became a parent, and he was like, "Should I have just let them drown?" And I'm like, "In protection of you, maybe."
Yeah,
I get it.
But Paul Kent would be like, absolutely not. We're going to let those kids drown. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
that's Zack Snyder and his,
that's the problem.
Deconstruction,
and then he literally commits suicide right in front of him. Like these extreme things to show these character traits. There's a million different ways you can do that. So, okay, but yeah, you're right. That is Snyder. But to make a real true Superman film, I'm going to say this, and because I've gone back and forth with it, but the more I watch of it, I got to start watching the trailers because the aesthetic and some of the behaviors is a little campy to me. And I will tell you visually, again, just based off the trailers, Superman Returns is a more visually appealing movie thus far. Because that's a beautiful film, by the way, to look at. It's just not, it's just flat.
Yeah,
and boring. But it means nothing to the end result.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. There were some scenes I remember super excited seeing them when I went to go see Superman Returns, and it was the cornfield scene where he's jumping through the cornfields.
Yes,
I loved seeing that, and I loved when he first discovered flight when he falls through the barn and then he lands and stops himself. I thought that was cool. I think the way that they captured the Daily Planet was really cool. But I will tell you that over time, that film, now the ending of that film and the reveal of Super Kid, this is 2005. That movie's 20 years old. I still hate that. I hated it when it happened. I hate it today even more. And that film has continued to erode over time. I like what Brandon Routh was trying to do. I think he played too close in the sandbox of Chris Reeves because that's exactly what they were meant. That's what he was supposed to do.
That was directorial, right?
Yeah. And like the what's her name? I forgot this actress's name. She was in White Lotus.
I almost did a screen test with her.
What's her name? She's got some weird name.
It never happened.
It's like Topher Grace, but it's not Topher Grace or Colby, whatever.
What is her name?
I don't even remember her name. Whatever.
I was told that was going to happen, and of course, it didn't happen.
But anyway,
yeah. Go
ahead. That
ahead.
actress is annoying to me the entire time.
Okay, I don't want to get off on a tangent or go down a rabbit hole about Superman Returns because we need to probably wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll just say that it was a aesthetically an attractive movie. In the new film, I'm all in. I'm just like, some of the stuff is, I don't know. We'll see.
It's got James Gunn humor. You know what I mean? Like I like the hey buddy up here kind of thing.
Oh, that's
I think
great.
that's cool.
That's great. And I actually like the Clark part where he's like, "You're a loser." That's funny. That works.
Yeah.
It's just some of the other stuff, but we'll get there. Okay, real quick before we wrap because we have to mention Batman. Man, dude, I know. Like, you got to let him cook, and he's got all these problems. I get it. God bless Matt Reeves. He's amazing. But just from a business standpoint, and with the success of the Penguin and whatnot, bro, what is going on with this film? I mean,
somebody said something. It was just James Gunn who said it. Because they were asking him recently about Batman and about his version of Batman and all of that stuff and about the potential integration of Matt Reeves' Batman to his universe. And he said, not likely, but maybe. You can't say no, but at this point, like, I'm just going to say, like, it's not likely, that kind of stuff. And I think, again, kind of going, I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along the lines of like, maybe the DC universe doesn't need Batman right now. And I'm okay with that because we have been bombarded with Batman, and Batman's an easy character to nail. To be honest with you, I mean, we've been so fortunate in 40 years to have iconic Batman characters.
There's several
good or bad.
There's several really good movies.
You know what I mean? Like good and or bad, because like BVS is not a like a favored film, but a lot of people loved Ben Affleck as Batman.
I like Ben Affleck as
that generation's Batman.
Yeah.
Sure. He's done so many movies as that Batman, like more movies than Christian Bale maybe. Let me think of that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, he was in BVS, he was in The Flash, Justice League, Joss Whedon, Justice League, Zack Snyder, Justice League, Suicide Squad.
That Suicide Squad cameo is the coolest Batman scene.
But that movie such caca, but
one of the coolest Batman cinematic live action scenes. Period. Yeah, and that scene.
But anyways, I think they put him on ice. Superman has to win in the box office and has to win with audiences in order for this DCU to kick off, because Batman's an easy thing to get in. So let them figure out the hard shit before they move on to the easy guy. Put him on the bench.
100%. I would like to see Matt Reeves finish his story, maybe film them back to back, or do one more 3-hour film and be done with it. I don't think that's what I'm saying, just for purposes of time. I mean, these actors do age.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just face it. All right, listen, let's wrap this up. And as opposed to doing like plugs or whatever, let's just say that the Yeehaw and Yankee show with A-Rod and Ricky Joe is good. We're gonna get this thing rebranded. One thing I do know in this apartment, this is my new Dallas apartment, I need to get better internet in here. I need to call AT&T. I've been nervous about the show that was going to jump. It was really good. It was really good in the Houston pad the other day. So I need to get the same juice I have there. And then I need a background, figure out where I'm going to do the show. But let's, for purposes of exiting here, what I would like is for a clip here that we can share, because I don't want to take anything that's personal and share clips. So let me just say this, we'll kind of manufacture a 2-minute clip. So if you're watching right now, we're wrapping up the show at the 58-minute mark, and Aaron and I have both shared some experiences that we're going through. He lost his beautiful wife to cancer recently, and I'm going through an untimely divorce that I don't want, nor does my wife for that matter. And so we're going through a rough time, and we want this show to serve two purposes. This episode, if you've lost a spouse to untimely death, or you're going through a divorce that you did not want, you're not alone. There's people that you can get help. There are places you can go to talk to people, and we're hoping that maybe this helped a little bit as well. And the most important thing that we kind of tied into this in terms of the context of this podcast is how important the things that we love and the escapism that we need, the pop culture, Star Wars, Batman, Marvel, whatever it is, your favorite book, like the art is important, and it's an important part of the human spirit. Aaron, turn it over to you to put a bow on this.
Yeah. The only other thing I would add to that is get help if you need help. There are so many people in your corner, people outside of your corner that want the best for you. So please go to therapy, do bereavement groups, whatever you need to recognize that you're not alone. As Rick mentioned, please do so. And then, love the things that you love. And respect what others love that you may not like either. But let's all come together and be fans of all the things that that we hold true and that we're very passionate about.
Because toxic fandom is really fucking stupid when you look at real heavy life shit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Please. Yeah. Okay. Yeehaw and Yankee show coming soon. Aaron, you're a dear friend. I love you dearly, man.
Love you too, bro.
Our brother.